Chapter 5. Jade. After much contemplation, I went ahead and read the journal. February 1st, 2011. Oswald and I kissed. I'm so happy. He sent roses to my office for the 5th time since January, and each bouquet was more special than the last. He offered to take me overseas for my birthday, but I declined. It was hard to fix my mouth to say no, but I didn't want to get too carried away with a married man. I already feel bad for stabbing Victoria in the back like this. We aren't entirely friends, but when our kids have play dates, we chatted and laugh like we are. Oswald, and I should stop this before it gets further, but I don't know how to approach him. I took a sip of my coffee as my eyes took in what my mother had written. I had read 10 entries prior to this. My mother had a huge crush on Oswald. I honestly don't know what she saw in him. I closed the diary, took it upstairs to my bedroom, and then placed it in the safe in my closet, which I had Nolan installed. It's a new day, I mumbled to Sly as he hopped on my bed. I went into the bathroom and turned on the shower. I stood in front of the sink, staring at my reflection in the mirror. I kept staring and analyzing my features. When I was younger, everyone my mom and I encountered would tell us that we looked exactly alike. I had her almond eyes and hazel-colored iris. I smiled at my reflection and picked up my toothbrush and toothpaste. I applied the paste to the brush and started brushing my teeth. My phone started buzzing nonstop on my bed, so I stepped out the bathroom and walked over to get it. Sly was tapping on the screen with his cute little paw. I smiled warmly before picking up the phone. Charlotte. I answered, since the number was unknown. Charlotte. I almost dropped my toothbrush hearing Victoria's voice. I gathered myself quickly. I'm sorry, who is this? It's Victoria, dear. From the supermarket. I clear my throat. Yes, hi. How may I help you? Hi, dear. I was just calling to invite you to my house for tea this afternoon. I looked down at Sly, who was looking up at me, as if he understood what was being said. Well, this is kind of sudden, she sighed. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. I don't mean to overstep. I just want to invite you over. I felt uneasy, but I decided to go. I'll make it. Just text me the time and address. Wonderful. Okay, I'll see you later. I bid her goodbye, then dialed Nolan's number. Hey. I heard his voice sounding as if I woke him up. So, Victoria just invited me to afternoon tea. What? Yeah, what do you think that's about? I don't know. You should go to find out. You could also use the opportunity to place some cameras around the house. What? I thought you would do the installation. I tweaked some figurines. You just place them wherever and click the button on the bottom, and we're all set. Don't you think they'd notice new figurines in their house? I questioned. They're not new. I took them from their house when I broke in. When did you? I stopped myself and nodded my head impressed as if he could see me. I must say, I am impressed. Well, thank you. I then heard a voice in the background calling to him. I'll be right there. I chuckled. One-night stands aren't good, Nolan. I said teasingly. I'll take my chances. I'll take the stuff to your office before you leave. We ended the call, and I headed back into the bathroom to finish brushing my teeth and take a shower to get ready for work. An hour before I met with Victoria. Jasmine said to tell you that she has money if that's what you're worried about. Nolan delivered Jasmine's message smugly as he closed my office door behind him. Did you tell her that money is not an issue for me? I asked, raising a brow. I don't want to be the medium between you two. Why don't you tell her yourself? I rolled my eyes. Here you go, he said, setting 6 figurines before me. One for Oswald's home office, their bedroom, living room, kitchen, and Oswald's office at Fuego Global. The global office? How are we going to place that one? Don't worry, I'll do it for you. You just need to place the other 4. You can also take the extra in case there is a place I missed. I took up the mermaid figurine and assessed it. Once you press the button on them, I will be notified. Then I will be able to see and hear what's happening. I will also send you a link so you can view it too. I nodded, still assessing. Nolan and I chatted more till I had to leave. Thank you so much, I said to Nolan, checking my watch. Well, it's time to leave for that afternoon tea. He laughed. You sound so posh. I laughed along with him. I know, right? Arriving at Oswald's house. Pulling up to Oswald's house felt surreal. I had to give myself a small pep talk before driving through the gates. Right this way, the butler instructed me, leading me to wherever Victoria had her tea. We step into a conservatory. Immediately, I felt caged. Charlotte. Victoria walked over to me and gave me a hug, which caused me to freeze. By the time I made up my mind to return the hug, she had already pulled away. "I'm sorry, you caught me off guard there, and I'm not too big on hugs," I said, watching her face, her eyes just as blue as her husband's. "I've never been invited to tea before," I spoke up, taking a seat on the cushioned chair across from her. Nothing but a small tea table separating us. "Really? Well, tea time is my favorite part of the day." I looked around, observing her and the conservatory. I decided to leave a figurine in here. It's a good thing Nolan made one extra. "Your conservatory is beautiful, Victoria." She smiled, pouring the tea. I watched her carefully without making it too obvious. "Thank you. I'm a housewife, so I always have the time to adjust some things." I let out a light chuckle. "Thank you." I took up the teacup she placed before me, then took a sip. The warm liquid touching my lips felt relaxing, the flavor of peppermint strong. "So tell me, how was the process of getting the house?" "Because the owners were hell-bent on just using it as an Airbnb," she asked. I stared at her, and suddenly it all fell into place. That's what she wanted me here for. Information. I shrugged. I was online looking for available homes, and it was posted. "It is a beautiful home. Surely you can imagine why I picked it out of all the choices." She placed her tea cup down. "I met up with the owner, Jada." I saw her eyes widen, but she quickly fixed her expression. "Really?" "Yes." She wanted to sell the house, because she had no reason to hold on to it anymore. Which now makes sense when I think about it. "Do you know Jada?" Victoria nodded. "Yes, poor girl. It was her mother who was murdered." She hung her head as if she cared. I almost laughed at the fakeness. "I had no idea," I muttered, taking another sip of tea. "I'm sorry. I need to use the bathroom." "Where's the closest one?" "Martha," Victoria called out, and a maid came in. "Could you show Miss Sims to the bathroom, please?" She nodded and waited for me to get up. "Oh no, dear. You can leave your purse." She spoke as I reached for my possession. "Sorry, it's my time of the month." She nodded. "I understand." I excused myself and followed the maid. I closed the bathroom door and took out the figurines. I clicked the buttons on all. Within seconds, my phone pinged, showing a message from Nolan. Question mark? I replied, letting him know that I was turning them on now, so I could just place them without stopping to look for the buttons later. I took a deep breath and stepped out of the bathroom. I had told the maid that I remember my way back, so she left me. The mansion was extremely huge, yet it felt suffocating. I closed the door behind me and then made my way down the hall. The maid brought me to the upstairs bathroom, which made it easy to snoop. I decided to do their room first, and to my luck, the first door I opened was the master bedroom. I looked around for the ideal spot, then got to work. After placing the figurine, I stepped out and quietly closed the door. I made my way down the stairs and placed one in the living room. I needed a way to get into the office, so I went back to the conservatory. There you are. I'm sorry, got a little lost, I said, followed by a short laugh. It's okay, it happens. I sat down. Your home is beautiful, I complimented. I never get tired of hearing that, honestly. Crap, I need to send an email to my secretary, I said, building up to ask her to use Oswald's computer in his office. Do you need to use a computer? You could use my husband's, he won't mind, she offered. This was easier than I thought. I would appreciate that so much. I had it in mind to send it to her, but I forgot. She fanned me off politely. It happens to the best of us. Follow me. We both got up and made our way to Oswald's office. I stopped in my tracks. Wait, let me go grab my phone. Of course. Once back in the conservatory, I made sure she couldn't see before I placed the figurine. I looked around one last time, then grabbed my phone. I made my way back to Victoria. Got it. She nodded, and we entered the office. It was spacious, dimly lit, and filled with the scent of expensive air freshener. Okay, I'll be back in the conservatory. Return when you're finished. She was walking away when I asked, Aren't you going to stay or send someone? No, you are fine. I nodded and thanked her. Once she was out of sight, I quickly placed the figurine and took a look around the office. Initially, I wasn't going to use the computer, but I couldn't help myself. I sat down and looked for clues to get into Oswald's computer. It took me 3 to 5 minutes to open his desk drawer, where I found the book with his password. At the start, everything looked normal, just work and whatever else he had going on. I was about to wrap it up because I didn't want to make Victoria suspicious, but my eyes caught something. There was a folder with my mother's name. My heart skipped a beat as my hand hovered over the mouse, trying to decide if I wanted to open it or not. I was experiencing several emotions all at once. Ultimately, I decided to open it. Pictures of Oswald and my mother popped up. I gasped audibly. They were having a full-blown affair. Not only that, there was a photo of a pregnancy test, a positive pregnancy test. It felt as if everything around me froze. I quickly clicked off the folder and ensured everything was the way it was. My stomach was turning. I felt like I was going to throw up. I double-checked everything before I stepped out of the office. My phone buzzed. Nolan was calling. I answered the call. "What did you see?" he asked, while I barely got hello out of my mouth. I rubbed my hand on my forehead. "Meet me in my house at 7. Before he could reply, I hung up. I felt sick. How could this have happened? How much of the story was I missing? My mom was pregnant with Oswald Fuego's child. That is insane. I entered the conservatory. I just received a call from one of my patients. I have to go. "Thank you for the tea," I announced to Victoria, taking up my bag. "Okay, it was great having you." I nodded and turned to leave. "Oh, and Charlotte." I turned to look at her. "Stay away from my husband." I knitted my eyebrows in confusion. "Excuse me." She shrugged. "It's just a warning." I let out a slight chuckle. "Oh, honey, I don't want your man. No disrespect, but he is old enough to be my father. P.S. I fancy women." Her mouth fell, and before she could respond, I shook my head and left.